Hi, the mic isn't working, so you get to hear my lovely voice without a mic. We'll start with student concerns and general announcements.
Hi everybody, I'm Sonia. I'm the president of MaryPerg. I'm here to just give a brief update on what MaryPerg's up to. For those of you who don't know, the Turks Take Care Fair is tomorrow, because this is Mental Health Awareness Week here on campus. And it's a really cool fair with a lot of different stands, but MaryPerg will have our Zero Hunger campaign representing, and we'll have a table there, and we'll be handing out resources on food insecurity on campus, as well as doing a quick trivia game, so it'll be a cool thing for students to come engage with us on. And if you're interested in getting involved in that campaign, it's also a great way to meet our members. We're also screening 13th on Sunday night with our juvenile justice campaign. So I totally encourage you to come out to that. It'll be in this building in the Jimenez room. And all these things are on our social media, so if you're interested in coming out to one of our events, definitely feel free. A few more things that are going on. We're starting up our food drive for the campus pantry this week. So we'll be donating weekly to the campus pantry from now on this semester. If you want to come donate food, we'll be out in front of the South Campus Commons shop tomorrow from 5 to 7. And finally, we're planning a workers appreciation event this month. That's for all on-campus workers, where we come and host them. And this first event is going to be bagels and coffee, just to show our appreciation for those who do all the work on campus. And so we're doing a fundraiser to be able to rent a room and provide food for them, and we'll be doing that fundraiser.
Yeah, her mic is on.
It's okay, you can probably hear me. I'll finish up. The fundraiser's in front of McKeldin on Friday. We'll be selling baked goods, donation basis, donate whatever you want, and that's going straight to an event to show appreciation for our workers on campus. Thanks so much.
I'll keep trying. Hello. Hello. Does it work?
Yeah.
It works? Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll learn how to work it by the end of the semester.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Any other student concerns or general announcements? Seeing that, we'll move into roll call. Please say here. Duong. Here. Neelan. Here. Kendra.
Here.
Alyssa Conway.
Here.
Tori.
Here.
Kenza. Jamie. Cole Schneider. Here. Maggie.
Here.
Alicia.
Here.
Josie.
Here.
Joan.
Here.
Naya.
Here.
Ashley.
Here.
Cole. Alden. Here. Richa.
Here.
Jake. Sharon. Here. Quentin. Here. Hannah.
Here.
Here. Pontius. Here. Alex Lambert.
Here.
Valentine.
Here.
Malawi. Here. Santiago. Here. Jared. Here. Zoe.
Here.
Solomon. Here. Jordan.
Here.
And Martin.
Here.
I call the 7th meeting of the 2019-2020 legislative session to order. The time is 6:08. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Are there any motions on the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Are there any seconds?
Second.
Any objections? Hearing none, so approved. All right. Speakers time. We're trying to be shorter than this. Yeah. This is just sort of letting you guys know that Carlo Colella, who is the VP of Administration and Finance for the university, is going to come to our next meeting next week. The dress code will be business casual for that, but I'll include that all in my email. Link is just the website for his department, which covers dots, residence halls, facilities, a lot of other important things. So, the same format we've had before. Then we're going to get a presentation about the Student Alumni Leadership Council from Meg.
Hello. I'm Maggie. I know all of you by now, so that's good. But I'm a member of the Student Alumni Alumni Leadership Council. I'm going to be calling it SALC, so that's what I'm talking about when I say SALC. One reason is our recruitment season, and another reason is we are partnering with SGA for the Crab Feast. So plug for Alumni Relations and Traditions, come out to the Crab Feast. I'm not sure tickets are on sale just yet, but they should be soon. It's a really fun time. We're going to be giving out shirts and cups, so that's why I'm doing this presentation. Yeah. So just a little background, what is SALC? We're a group of students, over 25 different majors, ranging from computer engineering, art studio, public health science, gov majors, journalism, it's all there. We're undergraduate and graduate students from 5 states, 30 cities, and over a dozen student organizations. So it's a super diverse group of people from all across campus. So what does SALC do? So our goal is to inspire a sense of community between Terps across generations. So we are part of the Alumni Association, and the Alumni Association reaches out to Terps across generations to help instill a culture of giving back to our alma mater. So we reach this through initiatives and programs that develop awareness of the alumni community, connecting students, alumni, and donors, and enhancing school spirit and tradition. So some of the things that we do is celebrating Charter Day. For those who were here last year, I think it's March 6th. It's early in March. We have Tetsudo outside McAllen. We give out free Georgetown cupcakes. That's a really big event. I know I saw some of you guys there last year. We get the opportunity to go to board of trustees meetings as well as Advocacy Day in Annapolis to speak on students' needs at the University of Maryland. And we also do a bunch of bonding activities throughout campus. So now you're probably thinking, this sounds like an amazing organization. How do I join? I want to join immediately. Well, I'm going to tell you. So why do you want to join this amazing organization? It's an opportunity for leadership positions. We have a bunch of committees on the campus programming committee. We focus on things like I Heart UMD Week, where we give out a bunch of free stuff all across campus for an entire week, as well as Charter Day and other homecoming activities. You get to network with high-profile UMD alumni. Through this organization, I've got to meet like the CEO of Pepsi, who is actually really cool, a bunch of really cool alumni, movie producers, everything like that. You get experience working with university leadership, board of regents and board of trustees. A little scary at first, but just building that connection and networking with them, you really get to tell them up close and personal what your experiences are here and what problems you have, and you're face to face with them. So it's not an email, it's not talking to their secretary, you're right there. And so that's a really cool opportunity to voice what you experience here. You get to do large-scale programming experience. Have any of you guys been to Terps Under 30? It was in event last year. No? Okay. Well, Terps Under 30 is a really cool event that we hold at the Alumni Center, and we bring alumni from Maryland who are under the age of 30, who have been really successful in their fields, and they talk, and it's a free food event, free drink event. It's a really fun experience. So last year, one of our Terp alumni, her name is Danny, and she runs Jars by Danny out of New York City, and she is a very successful woman entrepreneur from Maryland, so she came and talked about her Maryland experience, how Maryland helped her, and then we got to network with her afterwards, which was a really cool thing. You also get to do internal development and campus programming. We get to do etiquette dinners, which are really fun. I went to my first one, and it's actually, I thought it was going to be boring, but it wasn't. You get to do escape rooms, scavenger hunts all across campus, exclusive alumni panels and networking opportunities. I think this is the coolest part about this organization because you really get to meet alumni you wouldn't get to meet otherwise and tell them about your experiences. A cool experience I had is I was talking to an alumni in Annapolis, and he asked me if I liked the lacrosse team. I'm like, yeah, I like the lacrosse team. He's like, cool, here's 2 box tickets. And I was like, I never been to a lacrosse game. But I went, it was a really fun opportunity. I heard UMD Week, as I said before, we give free Ritas, free dairy ice cream, all that stuff. Charter Day, as well as homecoming events like the Crab Feast we're sponsoring with SGA. And you get to attend Board of Governors meetings and Board of Trustees events and meetings to provide the student experience because they really do want to know how students are doing on campus, besides just like talking to VPs and presidents and deans and stuff like that. And so we're there to provide the student experience. And so you really get to talk one-on-one and truthfully about your experience here and hopefully connect with them in a way that they can help us. Get to travel to Annapolis for Advocacy Day, and go to cool events like the presidential conference. Last year, President Lowe hosted like 30 university presidencies across like the entire country at Maryland, and we got to go and talk to them, which was really cool, as well as the Reed building dedication where we got to meet Brendan Reed. He was a really cool guy, and see them dedicate the building. So we are recruiting. Anyone can apply. Our application deadline is November 4th, and that's the link right there. It's a super fun opportunity. If you don't want to apply and you just want to come to one of our events, you can follow us on like social media. I think it's just like UMD SGA, or you can ask me. I can send you a link. Yeah, and we also work really closely with the Alumni Relations and Traditions Committee. So if you have any questions, I'm sure you can ask Rachel. She can put it in actually. Do you guys have any questions?
What is the commitment like?
So we do have meetings once a week. This year they're on Tuesdays, but they just change. And otherwise than that, you do have to do put an amount of like points or like hours. So right now we're like tabling, but that's like 30 minutes a week. Or if you want to go to one of the events, they're usually at night. But otherwise than that, it's not too big of a commitment, and it is like what you want. So I'm just a committee member, but if you can be like a director of a committee or a VP, and that's like a higher time level commitment. Okay, cool. And come to the Craft Fest. Again, it's a really fun event.
Okay, that's it for speakers time. It's a little short. We're ready for the finance report.
Alright, y'all, I'm not gonna take too long. Hi y'all, my name's Ben, he, him pronouns. I have to start everything by saying hi y'all. If I don't know what'll happen. We don't find that out. Emergency funding, $3,866.37 were requested. The committee allocated $2,682.01. I'm not gonna go through all of the reasonings why. They're posted right there. I will be letting the groups know tonight after, probably during this GBM. If you have questions about why we denied any of those groups, I can take them. Also, the SGA accounts per stars are the same as last week. That's the most accurate number we have right now. Budget's looking good. Any questions?
When does group help start?
Group help has started last week.
So we'll start seeing group help starting.
That's emergency funding is group help.
Okay, so we need to vote on that.
Do you need to vote on
Yes.
Oh.
To approve group help.
Please approve group help.
Alright, so do you mind explaining what group help is? This group
Never mind, I didn't see this in the bylaws. So group help is if a student group has unexpected stuff with their, something unexpected came up with their event. Say they originally had requested 400 chairs, but then they're told that 500 people want to come. Group help is supposed to help them throw events. Every group is allocated $1,500, a maximum of $1,500 per semester, and they have to have applied in a previous budget cycle. So these student groups all applied in September or April for this year. If they did not do that, they are not eligible for group help. I explained this during my retreat also, so I don't want to go through it all.
Are there any other questions before I take a motion on group help? There's a question.
I listed the reasoning why there. So Conversational Korean Club, SGA, the rules and the DGs apply to group help just as they do to the primary allocation period. They requested money to be given away for like, I forgot exactly what they wanted to give, what the metric was to give them away, but they were giveaways. And so we do not fund giveaways. And then also one of their budgets, they just did not provide any justification for whatsoever. They just said this, and then they were like, we want X amount of dollars for it. And we're like, we can't accept that. There was faux pas was not funded because if you can apply in the regular allocation period, you are encouraged to apply in the regular allocation period. group help is a much smaller pot of money, and it's supposed to be used for emergencies. That's why it's called emergency funding. So they have enough time to apply in October for this. So that's why we denied them, in order to keep the money so that we actually have enough for emergencies. And then G-Girls and Wasabi Boys, one of them violated the 10 business day rule, which basically says, it's like the 30-day rule, but for group help, 10 business days, and it's from the date that they apply. So we couldn't fund that, it's just, we can't do that. And then, once again, just like football, they could have applied for it, and they still can't.
You say you're gonna start your own ledger soon? What does that mean? What's that gonna look like?
It's gonna be an Excel document. It's just gonna be me trying to have a more accurate number, and other than that, I haven't gotten to it right away, but hopefully
We only started passing finance bills last week, so there's not much to.
yeah, we have enough money, as y'all see, like, no one's passed over $10,000.
So possible motions are motions to approve individually, motions to approve as a block, or motion to reject. I don't really know what that would do, so let's not try it.
Student groups would be very simple.
So, I'll take any motions. I hear a motion to approve as a block. Are there any seconds?
Second.
Any objections? Hearing none, so approved.
Sorry about that. I was supposed to
No.
do that.
No, it's not a bill. It's just yeah. You're good.
Perfect, all right, that's my report.
All right, thank you. We'll move into first reading calendar. We've got F191009A, an act to host University of Maryland's SGA Day of Action, sponsored by our Information Studies rep. That's going to go to finance as a primary, civic and government as a secondary, and comms as a tertiary. F191009B, an act funding the Reclaim the Red Moving Forward event, sponsored by our Denton representative, is going to go to finance as a primary and sexual misconduct prevention as a secondary. F191009C, a resolution to support ocean-friendly campus, sponsored by our Greek residential rep, will go to sustainability. And then F191009D, an act sponsoring a 2019 mayoral debate and candidates forum, sponsored by our North Shore representative, is going to go to civic and government affairs, primary, and comms as secondary. I'm really excited that we actually have like a good amount of bills rolling through. So now we're going to go into the second reading calendar. We're going to start with F191002A, a resolution co-sponsoring Mary Perk's Fossil-Free Future for Terps panel, sponsored by our off-campus outline. Are there any student concerns regarding this bill? Is there a committee report?
Hi, the committee gave this bill a favorable report. We voted 14-0 to 1. All the amendments that we have are technical, so like the updated name of the event, the updated location, and then a minor grammatical fix at the end. Are there any questions?
Okay. So there's a couple things we can do. Motion to approve committee report, approve with amendments, or reject. So I'll take any motion. Okay, I hear a motion to approve with amendments. Are there any seconds? Any objections? Before we move into debate, since we only have two bills, I would encourage the sponsors, if here / able, to just briefly talk about what this is. This would have to happen in a debate. We would have to take the affirmative floor, but it is a good experience just to talk about it, bring up why this is important. So with that, is the body ready for the main question?
No.
Hearing no. So we'll move into a period of debate. Yes. So, would someone like to hold the affirmative or in favor of this bill? Yeah, she usually comes late, so she has a class. Okay, seeing none, would anyone like to hold the negative? Seeing none, we'll move into the period of voting. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed? All abstentions? Seeing none, the vote was it's a 31-0-1, and the bill passes. Bill. Now moving on to F19-1002B, an act establishing and funding the SFB Reclaim the Red Club contest sponsored by our Leonardtown representative. Are there any student concerns on this bill? Is there a committee report?
Yeah. Hey y'all, getting more laughs this time, that's good. The committee report is favorable with amendments. The committee wanted to change a couple things, and they were substantive, whatever the word is, changes. For the first thing we wanted to do was, the committee believed that the SGA should widen the scope of this competition so that it includes more than just SGA recognized groups. So that, I mean, this bill, I'm sure you all have read it. They believed it affects all students, not just ones in SGA recognized clubs. So why not make it open to all student groups? So that's what the committee did. That's why there's a lot of edits. The other big thing that we did was we clarified in 16 that the winner will be decided by, that the probability of being selected will be influenced by the degree of involvement in the contest. This was already true, we just wanted to clarify that. The more activities you do, the higher the likelihood you are picked. We just wanted to clarify that so that student groups understood that. And then finally, the last thing we did in 18, originally the bill said that, there are two more things actually. Scrolling back up to what was 8 is now not existing in my thing. We got rid of the reference to the previous bill that was referenced. It was a nightmare logistically, financially, and I don't believe the money was ever actually dispersed to that student group. So it'd be good if we did not use that as a reference as to what this should be. This should be much better, for lack of a better word. Finally, we changed that instead of the money going directly into the account of a KFS account of a student group, which lots of student groups don't have, most student groups don't have. A student group doesn't have a KFS account unless they were awarded money by the finance committee. It would be that after the winner is announced, I will reach out to them and that the SGA will make the purchase, whatever the purchase is, as long as it's not illegal or against university policy, and that we would just buy it for them. So they still have the amount of money. It's just they still have $200. It's a credit with the SGA. It's not in their account, and that's logistically easier for students. That's
Is there a period where they have to spend the money? Is it going to transfer over to the next year? Like, how is that timeline going to work?
So legislation doesn't carry over year to year. So I would assume that it would stop at the end of the year. Our disbursements also don't carry over year to year. So I would assume, I think that's more like a practical question. I don't know.
Reimbursements don't carry over.
Not reimbursements, legislation doesn't carry over year to year, right?
Legislation.
So they have to spend it within the year.
Is that something that they have to lay out? Do you understand?
The student group, no student group has been selected yet.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, when they, or whoever like does, whoever is awarded, like, is that something that, is that like common knowledge, so that I understand? Like,
I can definitely include in my email, student groups should know through SORT training that they have to take, that they have to spend the SGA money in the year that they get it. If it's not an SGA recognized club for whatever reason, or like hasn't done it before, I can make sure to include it in my email.
yeah, because that was like included that, like, it was changed instead of it being just SGA recognized,
I don't know how amendments work on the bill, but I could definitely make sure we know them.
If there's amendments, you have to do them on the floor, which I would highly encourage.
Other questions about my committee report? So yeah, it's favorable with amendments.
Thank you. Since there are amendments that seem substantive, I'll take any motion as before. With amendments, there's a motion to approve with amendments. Are there any seconds?
Second.
Any objections?
Point of order.
Yes.
So, motion to approve the amendments, does that mean we're gonna be talking about them? Like, our,
So what that means is that the bill that will come to us on the floor includes the amendments that were put in by the committee. So if we did approve without amendments, then it would be just the blank bill as if the committee did not look at it. That's why I was waiting for the bill sponsor because I needed, what his thoughts were on this. So yeah, so it's approved with amendments. Is there a secondary committee report?
Hello, everybody. I just talked about what my committee did with it. Basically, so we just thought this bill was a really great idea because it's a way to get a bigger reach within campus. This will get all different kinds of student groups involved, and I actually really appreciate the changes that the finance committee made to the bill because it does give us a reach into groups like Greek life, professional fraternities, things like that. So hopefully we'll really be able to get like a big involvement with student groups, and a lot of student groups have already reached out saying that they want to get involved, and this gives them an incentive to do that. And our committee report was favorable, 18-0. Does anyone have any questions?
What was the vote for finance? Sorry, I didn't get
6-0.
Since it is a secondary committee, there is no motion to be done on it, it's just for our consideration.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
So we had a couple amendments to it, but I don't know if those get considered.
No, so those can be, if they're brought
So
onto
if they're
the
brought by
floor,
a member of the
yes, then,
Right.
well, not anyone.
Or
can
like
make
if they're
amendments.
brought by
Yeah.
somebody else,
Yeah,
okay.
since it's a secondary committee, those amendments don't directly go into the report.
Point of information.
Yes.
Along,
There's still on, there's a point of information, but you can direct it to me, and then,
what are the amendments?
I believe the bill sponsor knows them, and,
Oh, okay, never mind.
yeah, we'll.
I rescind my motion.
Very good. All right, is the body ready for the main question? No. We'll move into a period of debate. 60 minutes equally divided, will the bill sponsor seek the affirmative, does anyone seek the negative? All right, the negative remains open, you have the time.
Do I like stand here, or do I go over there?
You said, and then I yield.
Oh, yes, I would like to yield as much time as I may.
I will be running even if the screen does not show it, which it does not seem to want to. I would,
I'll do it.
if necessary, feel free to go, and I will keep it on another device, and I will call out time between speeches. That works just as well, not bad.
Okay, so am I free to begin?
Please.
Alrighty, so, hi folks, I guess I'm not allowed to say hey y'all, I assume that's copyrighted and trademarked at this point. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about this bill and sort of the conceptualization of it and why I'm presenting it to everyone today. So this bill is actually the reincarnated brainchild of the card bill presented last semester at the first meeting of the year. I believe it was January 30th, 2019. And basically this bill is a re-inspired version of that that takes the initiative and the idea behind it and reformats it both to promote the Reclaim the Red campaign, but also to fix some of the errors that were persistent within just the way that the bill was carried out, not as any fault of the writers, just that some of the language and some of the way it was interpreted meant that groups that were getting involved didn't necessarily have the means to receive the money as it was dedicated, as well as a few other smaller changes I'm more than happy to go through. So the inspiration behind the bill is that in order to spread like word of Reclaiming the Red, we're trying to reach as wide an audience as we possibly can. And so we can actually recruit already existing groups to spread that word for us and reward them in the process. So in contrast to the original CART bill, which was a 4-month by-month reward system in which your competition and the extent to which you were involved increase your chances of winning a particular month. This is one single stake higher reward example. So compare 4 individual contests of $100 per month, in which 4 different groups could have potentially won, compared to a single $200, but will be amended among recommendations from Finance and S&P to $500, as was amended, but it wasn't carried through for a variety of reasons, not anyone's fault. Basically, we're trying to recruit clubs to do the right thing, right, and to spread word of this positive thing in order to be rewarded with a equivalent prize of $500 to whatever they want to do. Say, print out a run of T-shirts, or order food for a club event, and get people involved. So we believe that the S&P committee, as is written in the language of the bill, has a responsibility towards the greater College Park community, and we saw to it that this was a great way to get them all involved. We recognize the increased risk associated with the red zone. We've said it a lot, but roughly 50% of all sexual misconduct cases and reports lie within a 3 to 4 month period of the year, which is from August into November, and it's a really critical time to change the way in which we talk about consent in a really positive way. And a lot of Reclaiming the Red is more than just saying a traditional risk management approach. It's actually about changing the foundational basics that can sort of preclude those events from happening in the first place, just by changing the dynamic in which we talk about consent and interactions among people. And so specifically, we actually have an entire outline of events, and I can pull up all the addendums which will elaborate further.
Which is that?
I believe it is F, but I'm actually re-changing the order on my end, so it might not be the number that I remember. Sorry. Perfect. So here's how the event actually plays out, right? So we start announcing the campaign in the upcoming weeks with the backing.
Which addendum?
This is addendum E, actually, sorry. And these will also include some of Elena's. I can permit access. Excuse me while I change that.
If you would slap me a link that can be viewed by anybody.
Yes, I would absolutely love to. Sorry, y'all. Obedience.
Point of information,
Absolutely.
you mentioned that food groups could use their funds for food, but I thought finance committee wasn't allowed to fund, or generally didn't fund food.
This is under a.
Change sharing settings to anything.
Oh, it should have been anyway.
I believe the point of information is going to be directed to the UK Finance regarding food and funding of food.
Yes, that would be a better answer.
So the Committee on Financial Affairs does not fund food from the general allocations pot. However, the committee actually did bring this up, and other clubs are allowed to seek alternative sources of funding for things like food. And the committee thought that this was a perfect example of another way of getting funding. The reason we don't fund food for student groups, as a general rule, is because we would run out of money for student groups. This is a very limited instance, so the committee believed that this is a perfect example of what SGA should be spending its dollars on, and wants to encourage this.
Thank you. Response.
Yes. So return to the previously mentioned point. The campaign is also backed by the comms committee, which will spread word, and basically the entire event contest, the entire bill, is really outlined pretty well in this addendum, as well as the rewards one that have been so kindly amended by the finance committee. For every single activity that you're getting involved with the Red Zone event, whether you're a club, whether you're a professional fraternity, whether you're a social fraternity, whether you're a not SGA recognized club or organization, like I believe Maryland Images is, as they're technically under the category of the admission side of things and not a true SORC SGA recognized committee club. for that matter. Every time you get involved with the Red Zone campaign with the events listed, including a brief social media campaign, thanks to Josie, right, for making the suggestion that we flesh out this option, which includes posting a story, posting a definition, increasing conversation and dialogue, talking about like really what it means with the organization, as well as hosting specific events, which I can definitely expand on a little bit right here. And again, as mentioned by Elena and in the suggestions, the SMP committee looked favorably on this amendment as well, where if you got the most likes through the most involvement by spreading the most word, you could also receive an additional bid to the event, which we explained in 5 minutes. If you were to say host a presentation with a care professional, you would be gifted or assigned another sort of bid in the total lottery for the winnings, which again you can request in the site listed with a list of attended. If you tabled on a topic relating to sexual misconduct prevention or any of our initiatives, including and not limited to Reclaim the Red, again there's a linked activity guide within the care link. If you host a discussion as referenced in SMP committee and recommended by Elena Levan, you can, if you host a discussion, you'll receive another bid, complete that as well. If you invite a member of SMP to discuss the Red Zone campaign during a meeting or event for at least 10 minutes, another. And basically the way it works is with every event that you do, you receive another total like entry amount. And so the more active you are, the more weighted your chances of winning. And so it rewards consistent and constant participation throughout the Red Zone because the campaign actually ends at the same time. And as a result of the Finance Committee's suggestions, which we do consider as friendly amendments and are more than happy to include, instead of the like KFS routing system, which is both inconvenient for a lot of groups and not actually functional for all student groups, regardless of their SORC SGA recognized status, we've changed to a modified alternative source of funding, which will be taken through lead reserves. And I think that really explains most of it. Also, as an additional note, this is not just like you put in a Google form and you say that you did it. All information regarding to events held and social media campaigns presented must be saved like visually and then sent off to Elena for second confirmation, and that will confirm your addition of the ballot in the total lottery, and then a random number generator with the total number of bids will be selected. And I think that really summarizes all of the thing, and I'd like to.
So, are there amendments?
Yes, there are. I would like to present a small number of floor
Yeah,
amendments.
so the way amendments are gonna have to work is that either you directly comment on the bill, since you have comment access, or you can slide them to me and I will have them.
Do you mind if I just put them in suggestions so everyone
Yeah,
can see?
that'll be fine. And then there will be a motion to amend, and then second objection. And we can debate the motion. So, while he's doing that, I saw hands. Is that points?
No, it was just a point of information about asking how it was gonna be tracked, but you know.
Okay, got it.
So.
Are there any other points?
Sorry, one second.
Yeah, since there's gonna be multiple amendments, I would encourage to do them as a block, but you can also do them individually, however you think is best, depending on your motion.
Yeah, of course. There is one more. Sorry, I'm just looking at my. Let's see. One second. Sorry, one second, just make sure the action plan is. Perfect. Yep, that calls on.
So you have the floor, so you have a motion.
I would move to approve the current amendments or something.
Great, there's been a motion to amend the bill with these amendments, I think primarily on clause 17 and just the action plan change
As well as clause 6.
in clause 6. Are there any seconds to that motion? Second. Are there any objections? Saying that the motion passes. Alright, you still have the floor.
I mean, I just wanted to say, do I like,
You
Yeah,
can,
this motion.
you can reserve it or yield it back to me.
I'd like to,
Seeing that the affirmative floor has been reserved, given back to the chair, would anyone like the negative floor? Would anyone like the affirmative floor? Seeing none, we'll move into period of voting. All in favor of F19-1002B, an act establishing and funding that simply reclaims the red club contest. All opposed, all abstaining. If you're not finance trained, I think everyone here should be finance trained, you should be abstaining. Alright, great. The bill passes with a vote of 31 to 0 to 1. Okay, moving on, that was a, thank you for, great, thank you for humoring me with that debate and the great amendments. Tabled bills, there are none. Is there any follow-up for any bill that has been passed already? Alright, we'll move into exec updates. Madam President.
Hey guys, not that much this week. I just wanted to give you all a quick little update about a few different meetings I had. Met with President Lowe on Thursday, so right after the GBM last week. We talked about accreditation stuff, kind of the role SGA is going to play in terms of the Middle States Commission, that kind of stuff, kind of what I was talking about a few GBMs ago. So that's really what we talked about. Does anyone have any questions about that?
What is the role SGA is going to take in accreditation?
Yeah, so as a governing structure, basically we help put together the report that gets submitted to the Middle States Commission.
And what will be in the report?
We haven't gone that in depth yet, but it's basically the updates being made to basically it's a response to the report that they submitted that said that our current governing structure violates one of the things that we have to have. Okay, let me back up. Our accreditation is under review because basically last year it was found that we were violating a section of our accreditation that says that the institution, UMD, has to have autonomy over certain types of decision making. Okay. So basically the report that we will submit in April will be our response to that, and it will say, here are all the things that we've done since then to fix that problem. Any other questions? Okay, cool. I had a meeting with Dean Ball on Friday, and just a reminder that he's the vice chair of the Presidential Search Committee. Conversations are still going to be had with him. I brought to him the bill that you guys passed last week, and he basically told me that he can control what the search committee does, but he can't control what the Board of Regents decides about the process. So we're kind of reevaluating what we're going to do with that information and go from there. So I will keep you guys updated in terms of what we're looking to do with that. Yeah.
So does that mean that the search committee itself doesn't have purview over whether they can hold more forums or?
So the committee could hold more forums, but we couldn't, the ask was for the candidates, and that's not under their purview.
But in exec discussions, we did discuss how we are planning to reach out to the board directly with the bill, so that now we understand more about the process. Nothing has been given before this, so we're going to move forward still with the ask passed by the legislature.
Since you guys are considering to go to the Board of Regents, are you considering also to engage the student body on this issue to build more leverage?
Yeah, so we'd be going to the chancellor, which it's kind of confusing, but the chancellor and the Board of Regents are technically two separate bodies. But yeah, it's just we're currently still in the planning process in terms of what that's going to look like.
and the timeline on that. Cool. So the fee orientation for mandatory fees is on Monday. Just a general update. The student fees coordinator, Andrew Stover, and I have been meeting with various different departments about their fee proposals, that kind of stuff. Most of them are going down. This is because in the past, our enrollment office hasn't had a great model in terms of gauging enrollment. So they've been collecting more money than they anticipated because way more students have been coming to the University of Maryland than they anticipated. So basically, we're getting our money back by not having to pay as much in fees. So that's just the general update. There are a few different departments where it's a little different, but we're working on that. And then the committee on CTAC, which is transportation, the committee on review for the transportation fee is happening on Friday, and myself, Quentin, and Alawi will be voting on that fee. So that the way the fee process works is that each student fee that we pay has a committee that advises that department on what that fee should look like. And then the proposals from the departments get voted on in these advisory committees, and then those proposals go to CRSF, which is the Committee on Review for Student Fees, and that will happen a little bit later in the semester. It's complicated and a weird process, but if anyone has any questions, let me know. So I'm sure somebody will talk more about this, but we've been working on the legislative agenda. We've met with the university's government affairs people, as well as we will be meeting with more people tomorrow about mental health and kind of things we're going to do around that. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. That shouldn't say tomorrow, that should say Friday. I don't know what my days are. Myself, David Pontius, and Noah Ekman are meeting with UMPD on Friday to discuss the demonstration that occurred the other week. We're just going to be talking about what basically happened, any relevant policies, and that kind of stuff. But if anyone has any specific questions that you would like the three of us to ask, please let me know. Yeah.
So at the demonstration, some students wanted to use, what are those things? Megaphones, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the UMPD wouldn't let them for lack of a permit. Just want to know more about that process.
Yeah, we can ask about that.
Great.
Does anyone have any questions? So then I have the University System of Maryland Student Council this weekend. And again, that's just the council that advises the Board of Regents, and that's made up of all the undergraduate and graduate student body presidents across the Maryland public schools. I'm going to have more information about the student regent process after that, so if you're interested or want to know what that is, please let me know. And I literally just got an email about the Systems Inclusion and Diversity Council. Sorry, let me pull up the information about it. So I was selected to serve on this, and it's basically a council that's been charged with addressing a few different things about diversity and inclusion for the Board of Regents. The three things that they're charging the committee with is identifying the problem, understanding the complexities and importance of diversity of all kinds to society and our institutions, determining the role that the Board of Regents plays in this, and determining actions to be taken. And that first meeting is going to happen November 13th. So if anyone has any questions or wants to hear more about that, let me know. From UMD, as well as myself, Georgina Dodge, the VP of Diversity and Inclusion, Luke Jensen, the Director of LGBTQ Equality Center, Patricia Grodzkowicz, who's a professor of sociology, and Laura Wright, who's the Associate General Counsel, are also expected to serve on that. But if that changes, we'll let you guys know. Yeah.
Is that gonna be like put in somewhere? Needs to be like at least just like
I can ask about that, yeah.
And, sorry, second
No,
question.
you're fine.
Is, like, sent on, like, our chairperson, is she gonna be let know about anything that's leading to this, or?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I will tell you guys as well, so everyone will get informed. Yeah.
Am I allowed to make a comment? Like, if you're meeting with the student council, like, I think it might be a good idea to discuss the transparency initiative that your administration is working on, in terms of the Board of Regents, since it does affect, like, every USM student.
Thank you. We are planning on doing that, but thank you for bringing that up.
I have another UMD PD request question. Can you ask them how much money the city gives them?
Sure. Okay.
Hey guys, so I just have one big thing this week. I met with Cohen and Smith yesterday, and thank you all for the feedback on the page. They were really receptive about it, and they agree that like mental health resources and tutoring and academic resources need to be linked to the course policies page if that's where they expect students to go for things. So they are working on that internally to link everything to one common page. But when it comes to the wording, some of you also said the wording was dense on the page related to the policies. So A.B. Smith was really open to actually coming out to meet with us and like sit down and go through the policy so we can tell our students like this makes sense or it doesn't. So she's actually gonna come to one of the academic affairs meetings. She checked her calendar to see what works best for her. So even if you're not in the committee, you're open to come out to that if you want her to hear what you have to say regarding like undergraduate studies policies. So that is my big news week. Any questions?
Thank you. Is anyone giving the update for Zoran, the Vice President for Student Affairs, and already out? Alright. Are you giving it for George?
Should we?
Okay, cool.
We slacked everyone to sign up for the year celebration, so if you haven't done that yet, please do it.
Alright, Tom?
Hello everyone, it's your favorite time of the day. Just kidding, I don't have TMTI, so don't get too excited. So today I wanted to make sure I keep you updated on the progress of a committee. So committee is this close to be done. It's really close. I'll get you the details. What we're doing is that we have committees on 2 days. It's gonna be Thursday at 5 and Friday at 4. So that is the meeting time. So legislators, if you'd like to join, please let me know. By joining, I mean like dropping by. If you want to drop by and talk to us about something, like please let me know in advance. Also with that said, in addition, we split the committee into two. So we have the team members who work on the graphics, who work on the who execute those needs of communication, and then we have committee members who will proactively reach out to different committees to make sure that we are doing due diligence to all these different committees. So right now we have I'm counting 6. We have 6 people here in legislature alone that is in the committee. So if you're one of them, please raise your hand. So Naya, Richa, you're so Naya, Richa, Joan, Duong, Jake, and Cole, Alderman. So these are our no, not you. These are our communication representatives. And they're attached to different committees. So this is how we do it here. And we also have Joy as our deputy director and Jasmine as my co-director. So that's the brief update. We're gonna come up with the we're gonna announce the results of everything, like who's going where, by end of this week / beginning of next week. So that's a brief introduction to communication committee, and now moving on to the other communications related stuff. Reclaim the red. I want everyone to understand that we also saw your support passing the bills, and we really appreciate it. I think it's something that is not being said because we have a lot to do campaign-wise, but keep in mind that we really do appreciate what you do and your support. At this point, I'm a communication director. All I do is communication stuff. So I want to amplify my concern that sometimes to handle things by ourselves, and by that I mean like communications and SMP, there is a limitations to how much we can do / how many people we can reach out. We have about 40 people here just right in front of me. Y'all have lots of friends, I know. As I look for TFTI material, I've seen a lot. So please understand that you're not alone on campus, which means you have the obligation also as a representative to reach out. And I'm saying this because sometimes a lot of things that we need a lot of your support on, it's not met completely, in my opinion. But that's not to say that you're not doing well. We have reached out to, so I looked at I do Instagram mostly. Looking at just the Instagram, we have reached out to about 2,000 people. Clicked on our profile and try to understand what we're doing. So that's great, publicity. But at the same time, please share contents as they come. And I'll be, I'm sure Elena will be talking further about it. And also SMP tabling too, please. And this is not to say that, the whole point of me emphasizing this again is because there are times when we feel like there is not support that we want, and that is not completely your fault. It's just I understand you're busy people, individuals, but at the same time, encourage others to join. If you encourage others to join, it's less on you as an effort. So keep the word spreading. That's number one. Also, make sure you look out for what's going on in the communication, because sometimes communication is not perfect. All right. Is that everything clear?
My information.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys went over this yet, since the bill, obviously, just passed, but what type of means, I guess, of, within visibility are you guys planning on doing for the public process? How are you gonna, merge that in with the thing?
So now that it's passed, I'll be working closely with Elena, but Elena does have some ideas about it, and I think yeah, and you'll have the opportunity to talk more about that. And I really appreciate the question because I'm really excited about this too. Yeah.
And would that goes along with everything else, as soon as things are set for the year and everything? After everything's already said and done, is that just gonna be sent in with everything else as usual?
Yeah, just making sure that we reach out to different people, I think, is the main goal. And student groups is also very important. So I really would like you to reach out to the clubs that you're involved in. Just right in front of me, there are about 50 different clubs I see. And so reach out to them and talk about why it's important. And I think we really genuinely have to understand why this is important that we talk about these stuff, right?
I was gonna say, is there a specific outline as to what you guys want us to, I guess, when we are doing the recruiting, is there a certain guideline or outline that you guys want us to address?
And you're specifically talking about the bill that's passed today?
figure out a way to like go through. This is going to be basically like an alternative method of funding for student groups as well. So letting them know that this is an option through that outlet. So that would be like any SGA recognized student group will get that message. And then also it's just going to be through like communication. But we're going to be putting together like one place where it's going to have like an entire explanation. Like this is the campaign. This is how the contest works. These are the ways you can get involved in it. If you have any questions, here's who you talk to. Like all in one spot. So we'll be giving that all to you once it's all done. I've started on it, but I wanted to wait until it was like finished. But like
For the future, I would suggest to keep questions for the specific director during their time. Thanks for the
Yeah, so, yeah, just make sure, just look out for the, posts that are coming. And, yeah, for me, that's all. And really understand why it's important because, you know, I think people need to understand why it's important, in order to like mobilize people, right? So, I wanna dwell on the question of why more. Any other question? Yeah, so thank you. I know it was long, but I really appreciate your attention. This is why I got rid of TFTI to make sure I drive this point a little stronger because we really need your help, okay? We are SGA together and we represent student body together and so let's make it happen, all right? Thank you.
Thank you.
So in diversity inclusion today, we talked about our subcommittees for all of our initiatives. So we have one focused on administration and relations with the administration, a cultural committee working with different cultural student groups, as well as a police relations subcommittee. We're using that. We're gonna try and start like a breaking bread event with the UMD police to bring cultural groups and other students to an event with police to talk about their differences. And then we are continuing to plan and develop a cross-cultural mixer, so kind of like a student groups mixer, specifically for cultural student groups.
Civic affairs.
Hey everyone, hope everyone's having a good week. So thank you everyone who came out to the table yesterday at the diner, it was fantastic. We had a great turnout. Yeah, anyone want to say how it was at the end? You were there, how many people you got at the end? I picked the wrong time, I'm sorry. So like 20 people? Awesome, yeah, so like we had 20 people within an hour signing up to register, trying to take flyers, so really successful. Some other things that are coming down the pipeline, if you look at your calendar over the next couple weeks, November 5th is going to be the actual election day, we'll be back at the diner tabling again. And then the 15th we'll have HEA Day, which is Semantics holding, but Church School will be there, raising awareness about voter education and signing people up for the primaries.
So 14.
14, ooh, okay. I bet. And then, so for Church School Conference, we're going to have that on the 18th. I'm going to send something to Slack, but just if you guys could send me student groups that you think would be interested, Maryland Dems, Maryland Republicans, Mary Perger, kind of who we're looking for, but anyone who could use the resources from Census of Engagement. On our campus advocacy side, Reach has been crushing it. She's setting up a PHA blood drop. It'll be on the 11th of November. I got that date right. Awesome. And then our landlord-tenant subcommittees hearing are still going strong. We'll have another one Monday from 6:30 to 7 in the conference room. Any questions? Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Go, Charles.
Hey guys, so just some quick stuff. So as PJ alluded to, the HK Day of Action is on November 14th. I've included conveniently the link to sign up to table. So just so everyone's clear, it's going to be a day of tabling, talking about HK to students and the 4 key points we're talking about, followed by gathering in the evening. So please take a second, sign up. They're half-hour shifts, just come for at least as long as you can. Let's say Town Hall, we changed the date slightly. It's November 19th now. It's going to be panel discussion with student groups and students. We're going to have 5 state legislators there to sort of make up the panel. So that should be a great event. More to come on that as that gets planned out more. As Alan alluded to in her update, we're still in the process of finalizing our state legislative agenda. So there's a list of agenda items. I'm not reading them to you guys. But if you're interested in any of those, if you're not on the committee, but you're interested in helping or getting involved with any of those things, please do let me know. Additionally, if you have any agenda items that you want to run past us, if you have a piece of legislation that you have laying around for some reason and you want to try to get it added to the agenda, let me know, and we can work from there.
Point of information.
Yeah.
What's furniture sourcing?
So that is dealing with universities, current, the Maryland Financial Code's current stipulation that furniture has to be sourced from Maryland correctional enterprises.
But what's the problem with sourcing from Maryland correctional enterprises?
So currently, the way that it is, public institutions can only source furniture from a specific catalog. This catalog is restrictive in that it doesn't allow departments to get exactly the furniture they need, and oftentimes the prices are much higher than what they are available at other sources. So again, if you're interested in anything, I'm happy to talk about it. Yeah.
Do you plan to let the Government Affairs Committee democratically vote on the finalized legislative agenda?
That is how all agendas go, yes.
Wait, in the Gov Committee?
Our agenda will be a bill, which will go through the committee it's assigned to, which will be the Civic and Governmental Affairs Committee. So yes, it will go through the committee just like any other piece of legislation assigned to our committee.
And then it does go in front of the legislature, and then it has been amended. So we do have final say on that.
So,
I'm literally like,
are there any elements of contention with the furniture sourcing?
Did you further what you mean by that?
So in committee, there was an element of contention about, basically prisoners get paid on average 15 cents an hour. How are you going to include this? Or what is going on with that?
Yeah, so as I said, this is a bill about allowing the university to better source furniture, so that's a more efficient use of funds, and the furniture that the university gets addresses specifically what the university needs it for. It's not really addressing the point, the wages of prisoners. That's just not what this agenda item is about. And you made a great point. There was talks about many of these issues in committee, and we'll continue to have those. And when it comes up for a vote in the committee, we'll be sure to have a discussion about each agenda item to make sure that they are cognizant of all the issues.
I have a quick question. For those of us who are not on your committee but still may be interested in submitting potential memos for bills, when would you want that by?
Yeah, so I think the goal is to sort of have this done in the next 2 weeks, hopefully passed entirely before Thanksgiving. That's my personal goal. So I'm not saying a specific time, a specific deadline yet, because I don't have a specific deadline for the agenda. But that being said, ideally in the next week or two, please come to me. And just if you come to me, please come with like a very specific idea or a memo or something. Because there's a lot of great ideas tossed around, but we have to have this agenda narrowed down to a very specific list of items so we can actually pursue Annapolis. So that's all I ask, just come with something a little specific.
what do you mean by memo? Is it something official?
So I'm saying memo, I'm just saying, if you have an idea, I don't know, like for example, if textbook affordability wasn't on there, just come with a specific idea of how to make textbooks affordable.
I wrote a bill memo last year. Would it be helpful for me to share it with you guys? So you know, I can do that.
Yeah, it's nothing too in-depth of research, just so that when you come, there's something that I can look at and the committee can look at, sort of have a basic idea of what you're referring to and talking about. All right, that's all I have for updates.
Thank you. Health and wellness.
Hey guys, okay, so it's Mental Health Awareness Week this week. So just a quick shout out, thank you so much to David, Madhu, Colleen, Yuban, Shoham, and Joan, who have all tabled already for it. The Counseling Center has loved you guys. I had a meeting with them today, and they said that they didn't even have to instruct you guys about how to be so friendly and how to keep going up to people even though they say no, so thank you for that. And then also at my meeting with the Counseling Center today, we discussed the future of the Mental Health Student Advisory Board and just like discussing different bylaws changes and stuff like that. And then another update, please just make sure you fill out the doodle poll regarding mental health student absence days, because right now we have 19 responses, but I know there's a lot more than 19 of you that are interested in that. So please fill it out at your leisure. Thanks.
Thank you. SMP.
Would you mind pulling my phone, or my phone is a lot, but mine is here
Sorry. Okay, so mine's not gonna be as quick as Kelly's, but I'll try to keep it short. So reclaim the red. So there's a lot of things that I want to say about this, but there's a few that I'm going to say to you all right now. Which is we passed this as a bill throughout all of you so that we knew that we had the entire SGA's support on this. This is something that my committee can do by ourselves with comps if that's how you all want it to be. That wasn't the intention of the project. There's an anonymous form that's always there at the top of my updates. If you don't want to participate in this and you don't think that this is something that you all should be doing, please tell me, because I'm not gonna stand here for a month and a half and beg you all to table and to help with this. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. This is a long campaign, so it's gonna be going on for the next month and a half, because that's the period of time that's the red zone. So like I said, I'm not gonna stand up here for a month and a half and ask you all to participate. We're gonna start kind of reformatting the way that we're doing tabling. So we'll do it once during the week during the day, once during the week at night. So tabling for tomorrow day will be canceled. Tabling for tomorrow night is on. Thank you to all of you who have been helping and tabling. People on and off the committee have been putting a lot of time and energy into this. It's just that it's the same 5 to 10 people that keep helping. I've gone through all of your Facebooks. I know exactly who has changed their picture and who has not. I know who has signed up to table and who has not. So if you're helping, I see you and I appreciate you, and if you're not, I know that. So please, these are your constituents that we're trying to do this for. So I just wanted to talk about a couple of the statistics real quick that were gone over during the CARE presentation last week. 1 in 5 women, 1 in 16 men, and 1 in 4 non-binary folks experience sexual violence on campus. Those are your constituents. Those are the people around you. Look at how many people are in this room. It should not be on the people who are experiencing sexual violence to be fighting for themselves and to be saying that sexual violence is not okay. So we passed this bill because we wanted all of your help and we wanted all of your constituents to be safe, so we expect all of you to be participating. The least you can do is change your Facebook profile picture. That being said, please sign up for tabling. Like I said, we're going to be trying to change it so that it's easier. Promote the competition to all of your student organizations. I also just joined the Know Your 9 Campus Action Network, so hopefully we'll be able to connect with some other schools, see what they're doing as far as federal Title IX changes and things like that. But like I said, please submit the form. If you think that this is a good idea and we should keep doing this and you want me to stand up here and beg you to table for the next month and a half, tell me. And if you don't want to do this campaign, tell me, because we can do this as just S&P and comms, but I need to know that. So, thanks.
Thank you. Student group? Oh yeah.
Really briefly, obviously, considering that the club is going to be an additional point of communications going outwards, if you guys just give a brief word about the contest and what it is, and just refer them to talk to me, I'm more than happy to do the legwork and talking to them. We just need you guys to get the word out. Some of us are more than happy to do the actual legwork, talking to clubs and getting them involved. We just need as many people talking and spreading the word as we can. Thank you.
Student groups?
Hello, everybody. How are you? Good. Okay. So, fun little SGA recognition update. We had a total of 41 groups apply for the October deadline, and we have added an additional 41 groups, so that's good. Now we have a total of 301 SGA recognized groups. Wow, what a number. Our next recognition deadline is November 1st at 5 p.m. So if you're in a group that's not SGA recognized and would like to be, please tell them to apply. The directions of how to apply are in my earlier updates. We are still currently working on a TurfLink resource guide. So if you have any campus resources, you have any insider information that you think would be beneficial to student groups, please feel free to let me know. I would really appreciate it. And we are still working on our current projects. We are working with D&I on a cross-cultural student groups mixer, and like I said, we're still working on the resource guide. Any questions? Great.
letter of support of the Cool Food Pledge to dining services, so thank you guys for passing that bill, that was great. The farmers market is having little farmers markets bike rides for the next 2 weekends. If you guys wanna sign up, that's up there, it should be really fun and cute. And if you don't have a bike, they give you a free Bio Ride bike with those new bikes on campus, so that's great. Okay, this is not a fun part of my update, but if you all can close your laptops and pay attention to me for 5 minutes, I don't wanna be saying this, but I gotta, so, okay. Tomorrow, I'm going to the first Sustainability Council meeting. That's where a bunch of administrators sit and try to make recommendations for the president to make the school more sustainable. And during the open forum, I'm gonna stand up and read out loud a letter that was sent to administration as for the demands that came from the climate strike. Because when we striked a couple of weeks ago, it was for 3 demands, which were general education sustainability requirement, a divestment directly and indirectly of fossil fuels, and stopping not use fossil fuels anymore on campus. So this bill, this letter at the end, it was sent by the Sustainability Cooperative, and at the end of the letter, it asks that administrators give a response to this letter, to these demands, to the SGA or GSG. I didn't write this letter, and I don't want you guys to feel that I went behind your backs and wrote these demands to give to administrators, because even though they're part of my goals for the years, I didn't want to go about doing it this way. I am representing undergraduate students in the council, so because they haven't received an answer, I feel like I have to stand up and demand an action plan to how they're going to address this. But I was not consulted when SGA was involved in this, and I'm very sorry. I know that you guys, I respect you guys' leadership in what we as a body stand behind, and I'm sorry that this happened, and I'm going to have a talk with them about this not being a thing that can happen, because we did not approve this. This is not something that we were able to discuss. So I'm sorry, but I have to talk about it because it is undergraduate students that striked and wrote it, and they deserve their representation in the council. So are there any questions about that? I'm happy to have one of the legislators bring forth a bill to discuss this if you guys want, but I'm just going to request that administrators give me an action plan to how they're going to address this. Yeah.
Is there somewhere we could read the letter?
Yeah, I can.
You could just link it to your agendas, or wherever. Oh, it's in your letter, wherever is easier.
No, it's not. I can drop it. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
So with the demands that were given, was there anything that you were gonna be agreed upon or disagreed upon that kind of conflicted?
I strive. I agree with all the demands. Like I said, these 3 goals are things that are part of my long-term plan as Director of Sustainability. I'm just upset that I wasn't, I'm supposed to be the SGA scoop liaison, and I wasn't consulted on it. I couldn't bring it forth to you guys. I wasn't part of writing the letter, because I was drowning in other things. But the problem isn't the demands itself. The problem is that SGA is named at the bottom as the group that's receiving the answer, because you all represent the student, the undergraduate student body, so it makes sense. It's just there wasn't a request to allow this beforehand, and that's what I have a problem with.
So where's the placement as of right now, within the letter being? Is it right now? Is it just within the council meeting, as of now?
No, they sent it right after the strike to a number of administrators who all ignored it. They sent it to Lowe, Mr. Kolala, Ms. Rankin, Dr. Sacker, Mr. Corrett, Scott Lupin. They sent it to a number of people.
Those are all people
Like,
High
they're
up.
high up,
High
so
up.
I'm not shocked that they haven't answered it, but Mr. Kalala is the chair of the Sustainability Council, and Mr. Lupin is the director of the Office of Sustainability, so they're both going to be there. And I also want to bring attention to it to the rest of the council, because, like I said, I'm representing undergraduate students there.
Colin is also gonna be at the meeting.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Can you read the letter?
Did you share it?
Not yet.
Okay, so just for time.
Yeah, I'll
Would that be
drop
okay?
it, I need to prepare myself to read it. because I
Alright, we'll
have-
just do it in Slack.
Yeah, I'll drop it in Slack, y'all can read it, it is not private. I'm just, my legs are shaking and I don't wanna do this.
Okay, then you don't have.
Yeah, I will, I dropped it in general. Like, it's not a bad letter, it's just, we weren't consulted on it and that's my problem. It's a good letter, they're cool demands, this is not the way to go about it though.
So just to clarify, the issue is that the committee that you're looking that you decide over is going to have your discussion.
The sustainability cooperative is an overarching coordinating space for sustainability groups on campus that was created last year to come together and discuss things and organize things like going to strikes. As the SSC director, I'm supposed to be the liaison between SGA and SCOOP because sustainability. My problem with it is that SGA was named as the group that needs to receive the response to this letter because it makes it seem like we wrote the letter. Because you wouldn't say, here, have this letter, go respond to it to Maryburg. That wouldn't make sense because you're not in Maryburg, so why would you say that? Yeah, that's my problem. I'm cool with the demands, I just don't like SGA's name to be attached to things that you as a legislature didn't agree on because that's your job. You are the ones that vote on what we speak on as a body. And this kind of, like, it's hard to distinguish between SCOOP, which is a really new thing for administrators, and SGA if they are like, please respond to SGA about this, you know? That's a problem. Anything else? No? And I'm, again, very sorry this happened. I'll take the blame for it because I'm here and that's my job, but I didn't write it, I didn't go behind your backs, not trying to backstab you to this.
It's okay.
No.
I'm gonna have to read it out loud tomorrow, so. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. There is no update from the student liaison, so we'll move into comments from the general council. Are there any comments? Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna speak up again. I said this last week, but AOPI is doing our Rose Bowl on October 20th. And basically we're just raising money as of right now for like juvenile arthritis, but you know, corporate needs it as well. I've been putting it in like the #random Slack. Wait, I don't know. I'm putting it in Slack somewhere. So if you guys would like to donate, please reach out to me after the GBM or just go back in the messages and see. Yeah. I'll post it again after the GBM.
Real quick, as Director Miller has discussed, the student groups committee is planning a cross-cultural mixer. Just a quick, I would say, a quick way that you can help out with this cross-cultural mixer. If anybody is part of a cultural organization, if you guys could please reach out to us and help us in communication and facilitation with different cultural organizations on campus. That would be really, really helpful, and I thank you so much for the thing.
For anyone in the Women of SGA channel, we're going to start doing bigs and littles. Watch out for the form coming out. Please fill it out. If you've not reacted to Josie's message, please do so. Keep your eyes out.
Also, I'll be sending out an entire SGA Big Little thing pretty soon, a couple of days hopefully, so we can get that started. But yeah, it's going to be for everyone.
Yeah. So to clarify, there'll be two. Yeah. One within Women of SGA and then one in the entire organization.
As PJ
PJ mentioned, Tori and I are leading this subcommittee on renters' rights, and so basically we're gonna be planning an event, and this could lay the groundwork for a whole campaign to protect students and that students know their rights when they're renting in College Park. So I'm gonna drop it in the general right now. Please come. It's Monday at 6:30, right before Civic and Gov at 7.
I just wanted to say, since there was a question about the bill memo for Gov Affairs, I dropped it in the legislature channel. It is like semi-private, but all it is the bill memo that I submitted, and then the last page is my rationale for pulling it after it did get approved for a variety of reasons. So it did not actually come to fruition, but it's all there, so you guys have access to it. Feel free to ask me questions, advice, whatever. Happy to help. Any other comments for the good of the council? All right, Ralph time, as it says, Callie's taking a mental health day, which is good. And it's Mental Health Awareness Week, so I hope all of you are taking care of yourself. And it's going to go to Duran, so we'll get a solid presentation from both of them next week. I don't know if I introduced Ralph and how Ralph handles new members. I don't remember, so I'm just going to briefly do it. Ralph is, our mascot, and we give her to a person who's done really well in the org that we have put in a lot of time, passed an initiative, etc. Who you think has really worked hard. So that's Ralph. So with that, is there any motion? Is there any seconds? Any opposition on that motion? Seeing none, so